In this episode, I quickly revisit a segment from the last episode I did and tie it in with something a former WWE star claimed in his recent podcast. Now, speaking of famous ex-WWE people, I'll also guide you to my latest article with pwdownunder.com and who I'm replying to. I'll quickly touch on honesty and delivery services and why it's crucial that all us delivery drivers be as truthful as possible. And I'll end the show with some updates on future episodes and talking about my new wrestling mates at Alpha Pro Wrestling. This is If You See Kayfabe. This is episode 25. So does that mean this is like a Jubilee episode or something? G'day wrestling mates, welcome to another episode of If You See Kayfabe. I'm your host, Southern Joe, your wrestling mate from down under. Let me get the delivery driver stuff out of the way first. Now, I do a bit of on-demand delivery stuff on the Saturdays on the side. It's delivering small packages, flowers, and many times groceries. We pick up the stuff from the supermarket, drop it off to the customer, take a photo to show where it was left, and get the customer's name if they are there. That's how it should work. So my first delivery last Saturday morning, lady is surprised that I am not bringing it by truck. But she also stated she wanted the 1 hour delivery. Now I told her that the trucks they only do all-day deliveries, not the 1 hour stuff. Problem was, she ordered a 1 hour delivery the previous night. Now, she saw I was following protocol and saw I was photographing her groceries for proof of delivery, and she thanked me for it. Because it turns out that the delivery guy from the previous night, from a more famous company than ours, but we're all independent drivers, so I'm not going to hang that on the company. Well, this guy stole her groceries and submitted a blank photo as some sort of proof of delivery. Now, I wish he didn't do that. Reason? Because then we all get tarred with the same brush. Now, this leads me to speak about another unsubstantiated rumour doing the rounds this week in wrestling. Now, I'll link back, if you remember, I spoke in the previous episode about the AFL star here in Australia, Christian Petrarca. He suffered a very serious injury, and the complications that arose what happened led to wild, unsubstantiated rumours about Petrarca wanting out of his Melbourne Demons AFL club, wanting a trade, and that trade had been organised behind the scenes between himself and Carlton star Harry Mackay, but no knowledge of even where this rumour started from. They also talked about how these sort of stories affected the parties mentioned, because not one of these stories had a quote from Mr. Petrarca wanting out or wanting a trade. Yes, he mentioned he was upset at some of the protocols, as they sent him back on the field after he was injured, and that was a decision that could have been fatal. But he's worked everything out, despite what the media are trying to push to protect their own agendas. Now, I ask wrestling reporters to do the same in wrestling. Check your facts. The latest not to follow this protocol is former WWE star Ryback. For someone who got a push, even a short one, he is more ungrateful than most ex-wrestlers. Now, very few wrestlers, out of the thousands of wrestlers plying their trade, even just the US alone, let alone everywhere else, he received the big push, the marketing, and certainly the remuneration. Yes, he had a good look for the WWE, and yes, he was marketable, but his promos were average, so he lived off the "feed me more" tagline. He was a massive dude, but he had limited in-ring skills. So they did the Goldberg for him. They gave him squash match after squash match wins in quick time. He now has his own podcast where he emanates a bunch of stories. One such story was one of the usual infidelity stories. Now, even though some reporters, clickbaiters alike, have named who the accused parties are, I won't, because I've always stated that I'm here to humanise, not sensationalise. But my point here is that even if Ryback won't reach out to the accused parties for a right of reply to confirm or deny said story, those that are reporting this and such should, and I repeat, should reach out to the accused parties for a right of reply. It's only fair. A balanced story is what journalism is supposed to be about. Even if the accused says no comment or tells them the story is crap or tells them where to go, you as a reporter can report this as part of your balanced story. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I recently had another article published by pwdownunder.com. Now, you can see on the graphic there, it's what the editor titled Throw Away the Scripts. Now, it was in response to Vince Russo doing a debut article for PW Down Under about character development being more important than flippy flops. And while I agreed with portions of these articles, I had to clap back on some things. Read both articles, I'll link them, and see for yourself. One thing I'll say that he didn't put in that article, Russo said that wrestlers aren't actors. In some ways that's true. But if that's so, Mr. Russo, why did you give them scripts? With WWE content moving over to Netflix next year, Netflix have already started promoting, actually putting out the doco series on former WWE chairman Vince McMahon. Now, no matter what you may think of Vinnie Mac personally, he is the guy who built WWE where it can be catapulted to heights that may never be eclipsed by another wrestling company for many a decade, if ever. Vinnie Mac has gone into damage control just upon the release of the trailer, and he's released a statement which is right here. I won't read it out, but I imagine you guys would have seen it by now anyways. Lucky my second oldest has Netflix because I've never seen anything that I wanted to watch. Now I have something that I want to watch on Netflix. Are you after genuine WWE merch? I have two options for you. First option, type in www.com into your Google machine, click on www.com, go to the shop link. Or second, type in the code that you see here, and I will put it in the description and the comments section. But now, option one only helps you get what you want, and the WWE makes a sale anyway. Plus, it's the long way to go about it. Option two is direct to the shop page. It obviously helps the WWE, but it also helps this channel. So put this code into sticky notes on your computer and bookmark the page once you're on the page, and I'd really appreciate it. So this past Saturday lunchtime, I went down to Pipeworks Markets in Thomastown. Now, as you can see in this picture, it's like a downgraded version of Paddy's Market if you're a Sydney sider, or Queen Vic or Preston Market if you're in Melbourne, or some sort of local undercover market in your local area. You get the idea. It's only been open for I think a year or so hopefully they've got plans to upscale in future. But I was here because I saw on Facebook that there was going to be local wrestling there. I thought I'd check it out. So here are my newest wrestling mates, Alpha Pro Wrestling. Here is a picture someone took and posted it on Facebook, and you can see the mullet there waiting for the show to start. That's me. Now, I was speaking to Craig, who was the announcer for the video coverage. He gave me a quick info bit on what Alpha Pro was all about. He also told me to watch out for Code of Honor, a tag team that he rated highly. And he was right. Magnus Colbeck, a big gangly guy, but with a good build, plus Mitch Connors, Both impressive in the ring and believable characters. Both could stare down their competitors. Really good. This is a team to watch out for. The show was quite good. Every wrestler engaged with the crowd, but not in a way that was patronising. The crowd got into the matches, and I also met Matty Wild, who was actually a magician who wrestles, and the artist Lockie. I did think at first that Dangerous Pete Morgan was Kevin Owens' stunt double, but he does have his own style, and he's a good worker as well. I also recognised Joel from History of Victorian Pro Wrestling 2000 Facebook page to now, who I shared a beer with at StarCast in April. Boy, time flies. And Joel refereed a couple of the matches too. Now, anybody from Alpha Pro up for an interview, please get in contact with me. By the way, speaking of interviews, I've got a quick update on an interview for the next episode. Now, for this show, the price was right, as the afternoon shows are free. But if I can make it for Alpha Pro's October 12th show at Pipeworks, I might go on the evening show and fork out the very reasonable $10. Yay! I have new wrestling mates. Go Alpha Pro. All right, speaking of which, I've just secured a top-notch interview. I'll be recording this weekend with a new wrestling mate. There'll be no edits, but some extra photos put in post. So find out from the USA who this person will be. That's all I'm going to say, that it's someone from the USA. But till next time, this is If You See Kayfabe. I'm your host, Southern Joe, your wrestling mate from down under. Rumours.